Hello, hello. Now we have something I'm very excited for, which is a new chapter of the new Kurosawa. This is a series that has been running for quite a while now, and scanlations for it have been here and there, touch and go. I think just kind of as volumes become available to Fukumoto Crazy, and as they kind of have breaks and other projects that they're working on. So I think this is starting to get scanlated again. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe because they've caught up in Kaiji. And so they're limited now by the rate at which Kaiji actually comes out in Japan, so they figured they might as well get caught back up on a project like this. I'm very excited to see it. This is one of my favorite Fukumoto series. It's had all sorts of really bizarre twists and turns. This latest arc being one of the more absurd stories that Fukumoto has ever tried to tell, of these two rich American brothers, Mr. Gasoline and Mr. Gas, who have made their fortune selling their eponymous products, and now are being treated to a rustic tour of Japan. They're big weeaboos. They want to know what it's like to experience Japanese wabi-sabi, to kind of feel that immersion in true Japanese culture. And Kurosawa, our hapless protagonist, has been shanghaied into this mission posing as a monk, as some sort of cultural guide. um, and so far, pretty much nothing has gone all that well. In the last chapter, they had taken them out to a wonderful fireworks show on a lake. But as some of the refuse from the fireworks landed on them and caused them to catch fire, they thought it was a terrorist attack and now have vowed to sue the Japanese government. So that's where we're at. I think you're planning to off the Earth Brothers. Yeah, they right now genuinely think they've been attacked. It's an accident. Almost burned to a crisp. You're not getting off the hook just like that. Oh, I'm so glad to be reading this again. Just these characters, the Gasoline brothers, they're so absurd. The Earth brothers, I guess they are. Gas and Gasoline. Are like such an above and beyond parody of America. And yet, if you think about the role they're in, the lives they must have had, suddenly it kind of feels quite reasonable again. And all of these sort of villain-type characters in Fukumoto's series, or at least characters that are opposed to the MC, if not full-on villainous, kind of antagonistic, usually have these sort of really crazy lives where so much has been provided to them and they're so disconnected from normal reality that they end up being like this. And it feels right that they're like this, you know? Like, it all adds up in such kind of a devastating way. Head honcho. Perfect timing, Mr. Tsukamoto. Anything were to happen to you, we would all commit harakiri. Oh my god. All your existence is a treasure to our planet, to humanity. So in this case, we avoided the worst case scenario. You should be thankful. Oh, I don't think this is going to go over well with them. Suggesting that they actually were lucky, that they didn't just burn to a crisp. Change the subject. Aren't you again? Those boys said all quick must have been part of the plan. Why is the fact that tragedy was averted had nothing to do with the boats? Your power to elude danger. Ah! Oh man, this flattery. Even though it's the exact opposite, that the only reason they got in so much trouble is that they didn't notice the flames on their back until they had consumed most of their bamboo rain gear. If they had just been a little more apparent, they could have just brushed off the embers and been A-okay. But this is like the severest, most powerful usage of flattery, right? Is you find out what they're feeling anxious about, what they're feeling guilty about, and specifically bolster that point, flatter that area, and maybe you can completely 180 the situation. That suddenly they feel like they're in control. They were the heroes. Oh, Kurosawa's face. Oh, I missed this so much. The Kurosawa disbelief face. It's just so beautiful. Come on, man. What? Come on. This is way too late. And his eyes on the back of their heads. It must have been your wild sense of smell, or your cowboy blood. Something we Japanese have long since lost. Of course our wild blood would act up in the face of danger. Nice. Nice maneuver. Look at this. They've gone from angry to boasting. And it's like that kind of awesome judo move to transfer all of that angry momentum into self-righteousness and vaingloriousness. It's only possible because you haven't removed any of the obnoxious element, any of the unreasonable element. You haven't actually taught them anything. It's not an actual resolution, which is why Kurosawa is going to be so pissed off about it. But it avoids the immediate kind of danger of them just being super pissed off at you and this whole situation just blowing up, right? It allows you to escape from that unscathed at the very least. And so in this instance, it's a good play. A desperate play, but a good play. On the moment he sends the flames, you dove into the lake. That resourcefulness, the ability to elude danger at just the right moment, is not something an average person could do. Kurosawa's so pissed off. Just every shot of him is making the same expression of like, and Kurosawa's the type of guy that, like, I think on some level he must understand why this is being done, why this is being said, and just the priorities of this administrator in the first place. But on another level, he's disconnected enough from society now, having lived as a homeless person for so long, that I think this is just so alien and disgusting to him now that someone would prostrate themselves like this, would lie like this, would insult themselves like this, basically, and elevate these two nincompoops. I think he just cannot comprehend it anymore. Anyone could have done it. Not simply panic. I may have burned to death. Jesus Christ. You see, anyone would do that if their back was on fire. He retorted, as I watched from a distance, I saw clearly. Diving into the lake, I saw Bruce Willis and Harrison Ford. Brilliant. Oh, so good. Oh, man. So this is Harrison Ford, of course, dressed up like Indiana Jones. The hat, the satchel. And Bruce Willis looking like he does in Die Hard. With the wife beater, the gun, the bare feet. Hell yeah. I saw two heroes in my eyes. You are nothing but heroes. Before I knew it, I was overcome with emotion. This is how a man should be in the face of trouble. This is a very powerful panel. This panel just outputs such high energy that I feel like I can accomplish anything. That I too can be an action hero. Look at that. Look at the love put into these characters. Bruce Willis and Harrison Ford jumping out of a boat and then flailing around in the water and screaming for help. I saw what it means to be a real man. We're the embodiment of manliness. On about. Yeah, Kurosawa just cannot comprehend this. He's too disconnected from this sort of hierarchical, favoring, groveling type relationship. It's been so long for him. I think at this point, he just genuinely cannot comprehend anymore. He swam gracefully and arrived at our boats unassisted. That's just not true. That's simply not true. They were drowning. They were screaming. They were shouting terrorism. They were threatening to sue. Even worse, we're drowning in a fit of rage. After raging the boats, you waved at me to show you were okay. This is beautiful. Because it's like, you either hit them on the level where they're genuinely delusional and you're able to replace their real memories of the event with these convenient lies that they were heroes, that they were competent, that blah, blah, blah. And if that doesn't work, if they retain too much self-awareness and can remember what really happened, it's like, because he wasn't there, because he was watching from the shore, they might genuinely think that he, this administrative guy, doesn't actually know what happened. And that they can get away with letting him think that they did all of these heroic, wonderful things. And that's maybe just as good enough for them? Kind of depends on what sort of ego you have. If you have a self-including ego, if you need to delude yourself as well, or if you have an ego that only seeks to present a facade to the external world. And I don't know. I don't have a read yet on what type of ego these guys had, except that I know that they have a huge one. How did you even come up with that? Oh, it's working. Their noses are extending. This is, in Japanese, when the nose sticks out, it means you're very full of yourself, usually unduly. I'm not sure why. Acting all weird. They're blushing. Does that mean they're happy? Those blatant half-truths? Their noses are twitching like Samantha the Witch. Yeah, that's right. And she would do something like that. And then she would cast magic. There was a couple sitcoms like that in that era, like the mid-70s, where there was like a supernatural element. There was Bewitched, where he's married to a witch, and then there was I Dream of Jeannie, where he's married to a genie. And those, I think, in some ways, if you look at modern anime, those are very ahead of their time. This is a bizarre reference for Kurosawa to be making, for Fukumoto to be making in the first place, but then for Kurosawa, the character, to have watched Bewitched. I have no idea how that would have happened, but whatever. It's like they're really under a witch's spell. Look at how happy they are. They're giddy. I think he was able to trick them themselves. They think now this is the actual events that happened. It's all a trick. The ambassador is setting them up. He's inflating their egos. Look at that. They're thinking about the boys. Harrison Ford. And Bruce Willis. Oh boy. I kept thinking his name was Bill. Because I think in my mind I combined Bruce Willis, the B of Bruce, and the L of Willis. I was like, Bill somebody? And I knew that was wrong. Calling them heroes. If someone else's mistake throws a hero into crisis, look at this. Look at this. We're getting to see a Fukumoto take on an action movie. We got the hero and the distressed woman behind a pillar of concrete waiting for his chance to fire back at this group of mobsters. He shoots out the lights. So they escape the danger. It's not like they'd whine and bitch at that person. That's it. Heroes are amazing. Ah! That's it. That actually is really interesting and really true. That in all of these movies, if you're trying to make a true action hero character, not kind of a critique of that archetype or whatever, if you're taking an uncritical look at that character, the story often is that they're just thrown into trouble. That it's not like they volunteered and proactively got themselves in the critical situation, but through all sorts of bizarre circumstances and mishaps, they find themselves in the epicenter of some crisis. And then they don't complain. That's right. That's the big difference. They don't complain. That in the end, they do what's required of them, and they go, all in a day's work, babe. Whatever. So by instilling these images, by specifically aiming for that trope, he's convincing the Earth Brothers that they can't possibly complain. That they were the heroes of the situation. Sure, it wasn't their fault. They were just kind of thrown into the midst of it. But they did it. They pulled off everything required of them. And thus, they should just move on with their lives happy and full of gratitude. The ability to escape from pitch, not much is obvious, but after that, it's the fact they remain cool. I've never seen it. I've never seen them bitch and moan after getting out. That would be fun, though, wouldn't it? I'm sure that's been done in kind of a subversion of these action movies. The Bruce Willis character, after fighting off the terrorist organization and saving the girl, is just like, what the hell? What the hell? How did you let that happen to me? Why don't you have normal security people? Why didn't anyone call the cops? Why didn't you call a SWAT team and have them come in and save me? Why did I have to do all of this myself? so on and so forth, complaining and complaining. No, you'd never see it in any sort of sincere movie, only in some sort of ironic parody type movie, which still sounds like a lot of fun, but not Harrison Ford or Bruce Willis. Oh man, he's just all about. Actually, I wouldn't want to see that. Yeah, I would want to see that, but that's that's just me. With all of our gross incompetence, we have caused an inordinate amount of trouble that we allowed such an inexcusable. What are you talking about? Ah, see? He's already going to flip it on. He's going to be like, what are you talking? It was fine. The whole situation is under control. You think you need to apologize for something like that? That stuff is water off a duck's back. He's just moved on. Watching the fireworks reminded us of camping back in high school. That's what made us want to take a swim. Ain't that right? He's gone one further. He's now claiming that it was all voluntary. They weren't even heroes. Are you freaking serious? Germany summer is so humid. You just want to go swim. Lift your head, Ambassador. It's no problem. We're used to this kind of spectacle. He did it, man. This ambassador. Kept calling him an administrator. No, he's an ambassador. He is a pretty intelligent guy. Very quick thinking. Very, very persuasive in the way he went about that. It was good stuff. And this kind of Fukumoto look at international diplomacy is really, really wonderful to me. I feel like there is something on the fringe that this could be seen as allegorical, perhaps, to Japan's relationship with the United States. I don't know. I'm not going to claim that there's any intent to do that, nor am I going to try to make any sort of readings along those lines myself. But it's just such a tragedy that you have to think it means something. If pre-dinner exercise, those Earth brothers aren't so bad after all. Still having a boyish spirit. They look up to heroes. They want to be heroes. They're a bit old for it. They're showing their stupidity. Ah, yes, he suddenly realizes, hey, if we didn't do anything wrong, everybody else should stop bowing too. Everybody's got to get back up on their feet. But this is nice, that Kurosawa, in the end, takes this reading from it. It's a very generous character reading, for sure. One that, given their positions of power, I think is perhaps still damning in a regard to say they're basically just man-children. They just want to be heroes. But Kurosawa finds it endearing. And I suppose it really helped them out in this situation, that they retain that sort of youthful naivety. Our heroes are soaking wet. Oh! The change of clothes now. Ambassador 2, I'm seeing him in a new light. Kurosawa, recognizing this genius, he caught them. Gas and gasoline both. In the whole USA, he sweet-talked them all and escaped from a diplomatic crisis. Hell yeah, he did. It is a goddamn miracle. Let's change into these. Ooh! Kimono for dinner. Samue. Most fitting garment for a tranquil night of Japanese cuisine. Japanese wabi-sabi wear. There you go. There's your keyword. You throw it out there. Sure, it's got a rusticness. It's got a utility to it. It's got a sense of impermanence and everydayness. I guess it's not too unreasonable to call it wabi-sabi. But the ambassador is definitely just laying that on thick to try to avoid any more arguments or anything like that. Just come on, just put them on. It's wabi-sabi, you know. Let's go change it to them. Okay. Ambassador's still looking pretty stressed out, but he knows that this went a lot better than it could have. Maybe things will be okay. Collapses. Fine. Thank you so much, sir. You were truly magnificent. He really was. I'm very impressed with that. He saw the line. He saw the perfect line. The hero's line. Bruce Willis and Harrison Ford. Okay. X really covered their goodwill. Even though I said they sue. They demanded $1 billion each. $2 billion total. Approximately 250 billion yen. What does the building cost for a certain country's national stadium? I do not recognize what national stadium that is, so I don't know if that's like a dig or not. You rescued us from that cost. You are the real hero. Oh, stop celebrating. Yes, the night is still young. They have to keep up this insane charade until they're safely on the plane back to America. Even then, they're probably going to blame Japan for anything that happens on the plane. Until they're standing on U.S. soil. Until their earth is beneath their feet again. They are always just 2 missteps away from a lawsuit. This poor band of the ambassador and his staff. Fireworks misfires shouldn't have ever happened. Don't let your guards down. The project's only halfway done. Don't let those crazy Americans out of your sight. It's leaking. It's all leaking out. Those dumbass brothers! Padus are grappling with each other. Oh, this is really fun. They're at odds. They're warring. They're fighting. Ambassador, it's your fault. Since you put us in these clothes. Oh, what the hell could it be now? Obviously, we'll start wanting to do judo. Oh my god. You lit a fire in our fighting these characters. This is just so absurd. I just love it so much. These are Americans. These are truly Americans. As a Canadian, I have a sense of national duty to say things like that. If there's one thing that truly unites Canada as a country, it's just shit-talking America whenever we can. And in this, we have allies around the globe. And seeing Fukumoto here, as soon as they put on these clothes, they have to try to do judo. Earlier, I was saying that the ambassador was doing judo. So it's come full circle in a sense. And in another sense, I don't know what I'm talking about. Get the thing for when the assembly is no good. Please wait a moment. See, he's got a backup plan. He knew that the clothes were going to be a contending thing. He already did the wabi-sabi line, but you can see how that might have not worked. Like if they thought the clothes were overly feminine or something like that, they would have had a much larger uphill battle. So there was a backup plan already, huh? What could that be? Ah, Hawaiian shirts. We Americans won't get in a fight while wearing Hawaiian shirts. They're for relaxing and being friends. Ah, Hawaiian shirts. What can't they do? It's all we can possibly hope for. Your preparations are ready. It's dark, so watch where you walk. Terrorism! Good luck. He just trips. And he doesn't even shout it this time. He's just like, terrorism? Could it be terrorism? They're like, no, not this time. Okay. Good luck, Ambassador. Good luck indeed. So that's it for this chapter. Thank you, as always, to Fukumoto Crazy. A wonderful credits page here of the 2 brothers on fire. We have another new chapter of this to read, so please look forward to that tomorrow. I'm really, really enjoying this arc. I think it's really funny that we've almost shifted entirely away from Kurosawa's perspective. Occasionally, you know, he'll offer some commentary on what's happening, and we'll get his emotional reactions and stuff. But he has no involvement with the plot right now. It's the Ambassador versus the Earth Brothers, and I think it's quite a good matchup. They've really nicely established the Ambassador's character as kind of being this super competent but always worrying, like this. I'm going to call him a Charles Tavis type character, which is a reference to Infinite Jest that I don't expect anyone to actually get, but this kind of senior administrative person, and through whom you can see how they became so accredited, and yet you can also see that they're just constantly stressed, constantly battling on every front. And seeing this type of character, which is quite archetypical, but has been established nicely naturally, going up against these absurd American caricatures, it just feels so pure. It just feels like perfect, you know? Whereas Kurosawa would have a much more, I don't know, kind of a disjointed matchup. He wouldn't be able to respond to these problems in the right way. But what I'm thinking this is all a setup for is the final confrontation between Kurosawa and the Earth Brothers, which I am very, very much looking forward to. So we'll look forward to that as well. Okay, bye-bye.